What's up guys? Today we're gonna check out Resident Evil 8 Village on the PlayStation 5. This is probably the biggest release of 2021 so far, and perhaps it shows what the next gen PS5 is capable of. This game's wild. A mix of horror and action. You'll be thrown to the wolves pretty early in the game, and initially you feel powerless against these monsters. But as the game goes forward, your power grows, and well, that's not such good news for the bad guys. If you want to pick this one up, make sure you have at least 28 gigabytes of storage space, which isn't a whole lot compared to other PS5 titles. As soon as you start up the game, you're gonna notice the magic of that solid state drive. Load times are practically non-existent. You won't really be waiting at all between cutscenes either.
Looks like you're outside.
The visuals on the PS5 are pretty respectable. The game does have ray tracing at 4K resolution. Now the reflections aren't as intense as Spider-Man for example, but you will notice a difference with ray tracing turned on or off. What's nice is that even with ray tracing turned on, the game does deliver 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. That 60 frames per second is pretty consistent for most of the game. I mean, there's minor drops at times by a few frame rates, but nothing notable. Now, one area later in the game, the Mornose Reservoir, is where the PS5 hardware gets a bit stressed. In this area, the frame rate can dip into the mid 40s at times. I mean, the game's still playable, but if you're into numbers, that's where you're gonna see the PS5 really get tested. The area is really filled with surfaces that have a lot of reflection, so the performance drop does make sense. Now, one solution is to turn ray tracing off in this section, and that should deliver a consistent 60 frames per second. This game also has DualSense functionality, so there is advanced haptic feedback as well as adaptive triggers. You'll have the right trigger push back at you when firing ranged weapons. I also noted a slight resistance when using the knife. Overall, it's a really well done game. It may be a little short for those that don't like to search every nook and corner to find every single treasure. There's also the leveling up of the character's abilities and the weapons, which is optional. So unless you really dig into it, you might be able to finish off the game in just a couple of days. My advice, it's really a rental rather than a buy. Mind you, it's a really good rental. So maybe do a group buy with a bunch of friends and each person can play through it and then pass it on to the next. For the rest of the video, check out some more gameplay. It's all at 4K 60 frames per second with ray tracing turned on, and drop a comment below on what you think of this game. Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel because there's a ton of next gen content coming your way.
Mother Miranda.
What was that? What am I supposed to do? He said the exit's underwater.